Hello there everyone, it's TIJ or Toby and welcome back to the FM18 team guides from the Barclays Premier League. It's not the Barclays Premier League, I keep saying it's the Barclays Premier League. It's the FA Premier League, or the English Premier Division as FM calls it. And today we're going to be looking at the Newcastle United squad, where to improve the dynamics, the medical sense, the tactics, whatever you guys want me to look at. And obviously I'll be looking at all those things today in a quick 10-minute summary for you of the Newcastle United squad. And let's start it straight away by looking at the Newcastle squad. Of course, recently been promoted from the Championship. Really, they've kept sort of the same sort of players in their squad from the Championship. Obviously, the Premier League relegation season to when they've been promoted to the Championship. Now, a few add-ons, of course, are the likes of Matt Ritchie from Bournemouth. They've signed him. Dwight Gale from Crystal Palace, as well as Jacob Murphy, who played for Norwich, I believe, at one point. If we look at the dynamics quickly then, as the hierarchy, apparently the match cohesion is quite poor. And in terms of social groups, got quite a good big core social group, but the new signings like Jacob Murphy, Lejeune and Manquillo not quite fitting in just yet. There's only got one team leader though, in Jack Colbert. That's actually quite good because he's at the prime of his career, so he should be with the group for a long time if you decide to keep him. So I suppose that is quite good. If you want to keep him, if you want another team leader, that'd be good as well. And it's quite interesting to see that Jamal Lascelles, who's actually the captain, is not a team leader, but as you can see, he's quite a highly influential player. As you can see, the social groups as quite a big main social group, which is quite good to see in the squad. If we look at the team report then, the transfer budget is quite low at 10.75 million, but there's quite good defensive, midfield and attacking depth as well. I've got quite a few good youth prospects, with Rolando Aarons being quite a well-known name in the Premier League at the moment. If you have a look at some of these names that are out on loan, we've got Matt Sells, who is out on loan. Of course, Tim Krul being sold to Brighton, you might need another goalkeeper, and he could be quite a good option. Rolando Aarons, we've got Callum Roberts, we've got Adam Armstrong, Freddie Woodman, just being some of the players that stand out in the under-23s. And then in the under-18s, you've got Adam Wilson, Mason Goodridge and Lewis Cass, who stand out as the centre-back, midfielder and attacking options. Brilliantly orchestrated as defending, attacking midfield options. But anyway, we go to the scouting as the shortlist, and 5 players I've prepared that maybe you could sign for Newcastle. Of course, goalkeepers are quite short in supply. You've only got 2 goalkeepers now with Rob Elliott and Carl Darlow. Obviously, Matt Sells can play as a goalkeeper, but he is away from the club at the moment, so that is going to be quite tricky this season to if one of your players gets injured. A player that you could sign is Alan McGregor from Hull. I'd say he's only 35 years old. Of course, he is 35 years old now, getting on quite a bit, which means you can pick him up quite cheap. 1.6 million is his value at £10,000 a week. I'm sure you could pick him up for cheaper than that. But if you compare him to Rob Elliott, who's meant to be the main goalkeeper for now for Newcastle, Alan McGregor's got better physical speed, eccentricity is the same, and shot stopping is the same, and it's quite a comparable grid, if you like. And what is it called? It's like a chart sort of thing. I can't think what it's called, but it's like a chart, a comparison chart, I guess you could call it, in the goalkeeper role. And I'd say as a backup option, it'd be a very respectable option, considering Rob Elliott's meant to be your first team option. Another option in that goalkeeper position is, I think his name is Itum Kuhn. I believe that's about Kuhn. I think that's how it's pronounced. From the Kai's Chiefs, a one-club man, been there all his life. So if you're looking, then perhaps it might be sort of that thing that he doesn't want to go because he'd get homesick or whatever that sort of thing is. But if you can steal him away, he'd be definitely a good choice. Disposition is phenomenal. Centricity is phenomenal. Communication and mental stats are decent. Speed's good, and he's quite good comparability-wise to Rob Elliott. He's also in the youth compared to Rob Elliott, and you should be able to pick him up quite cheap. The only trouble, of course, is that he's getting on, well, not that he's getting on a bit, but he's a one-club man, and does he want to leave the club that he's been with since 2004? I'm sure you should sort that, guys, yourselves. He's got quite good mental stats as well as physical stats and goalkeeping stats as well. So clearly, might well be able to play in other positions if you played in the lower leagues. But I wouldn't have to worry about that with Newcastle. Well, they won't do a Portsmouth, I hope. If they do with your save, maybe don't tell me how you're getting on. But yeah, anyway. As a centre midfield option at the club, you've got quite a lot of centre midfielders, but I don't think from memory there's a lot on the attacking midfield front. It's the winger front that I've got a problem with. There's only 5 players on each winger that can play on the wing. Iosa Perez really being a striker, I'd say. And I've never heard of this Savek guy. Savi's a new signing. He seems he's quite versatile, but really he's more of a central option. A little bit like Liam Henderson, I suppose, I'm going to suggest, from Celtic. £500,000, quite a young player, youth prospect, can play as a central attacking mid and a central midfield. If we compare him then to, what's his face? Yeah, Henry Save, there we go, the player I was just on. The stats are quite comparable. The only real thing that Save's got compared to Henderson is the speed, but of course, Save can play as a winger as well, which means that, you know, Henderson's not going to have that pace in him, but Henderson's got youth on his side and seems like a really solid player. For only 500k as well, I'm sure you could probably pick him up for a lot more than that. Might be about 2.5 million. But if you're looking to do a longer save, it probably might worthwhile to sign Liam Henderson. Another player I might recommend from Celtic as well is James Forrest, another Scot who can play it on the wings, and particularly the right wing. So if we look at probably our best right winger, Matt Ritchie, as you can see, James Forrest has a lot more pace, 17 pace, quite incredible. His other stats aren't quite as good apart from defending, and he's not quite as versatile either as Matt Ritchie, but I wouldn't worry about that. As a right winger, he's really solid, definitely. Matt Ritchie plays an inside forward, with Forrest playing as more of a winger, of course, with his speed and better defending stats, but, you know, if I think James Forrest is a very good player to play, even as a rotational backup option, and I think it would be a very solid addition to the Newcastle squad. A striker that I might add is Ryder Matos. I've looked at him from the Udinese squad. Very versatile, can play as a backup option on the right midfield and as a centre attacking midfield. He's got good work rate, good pace as well for quite a central player, and his first touch dribbling and determination. Of course, you can see his stats, so I don't need to go through them all. But he has got quite good stats. 3.1 million, only a rotation up from Udinese, so they might let him go. And he joined in January 2016. Not done anything too brilliant, but he's got quite a bit of experience playing in Italy, Brazil, and even Spain in the first division. That's very, very interesting. So that's really all the players I recommend. I couldn't really think of many other players to sign. I've just had a quick look through the scouting centre of playing search options. These are all players, and they are in every video, that are apparently interested in signing for the club. I do tick this option before starting. There's no point recommending any players that have no interest in joining the club. That would just be silly. But in terms of the tactics then, I would probably go, let's just have a quick look at the squad. In terms of this squad, they've got quite a lot of depth, I'd say, in midfield and centre attacking midfield. So I'd probably be not reluctant. I'd probably be quite confident as usual to play a 4-2-3-1, which is my preferred tactic. Of course, if you want two strikers up front, maybe I'd struggle, but maybe go with a 4-1-3-2. That would be quite an interesting tactic. Let me know how you guys get on with that one. You might be a bit exposed in the midfield areas, but you'd have a bit more in the terms of attack. And with a lot of good attackers and wingers, maybe you might have to have, say, a defensive winger. Oh, you can't have a defensive winger on attack, never mind. But perhaps you might have to have more defensive fullbacks. If you're good at your tactics anyway, I'm sure if you're better than me, you will know that defence is the best form of attack and attack is the best form of defence. But I'd probably go for 4-1-3-2. That seems like a nice tactic to go for the Newcastle squad. Apparently it's a 4-1-5 wide, it's classed as here. But let me know how you get on with that tactic if you do use that tactic. I'm really interested to see how it gets on. There's not really much more to talk about in terms of Newcastle. Maybe the players to get rid of. If we look at potential, low potential, we've got Rob Elliott, you might want to get rid of course, in the future. Who's Hagas Yamez? He's quite an older player. He only joined Newcastle a few years ago, and to be fair, as a backup option, I don't blame them for having him. So there's not really anyone I would get rid of, to be honest. There's quite a few young signings and a few players that are wanted by other clubs. It seems that Yadlin is transfer listed for 0. It seems like he wants to leave. Maybe I would probably keep Yedlin. He seems like a decent player. He's worth 8 million now. And if he doesn't perform this season, I guess you can cash in at the end of the season. But Paul Dummett's also wanted, as well as Save. And Paul Dummett, I guess you could sell if you wanted a bit more money for other players. But I'll say with Newcastle, they've got quite a solid squad. And I don't think you need to sell many players. I guess that was a bit of a short one though, folks, today for the team guides. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Not really much more to report on Newcastle. Quite a good squad, and a very good squad for being promoted to the Premier League. One of the best squads I've seen that have been promoted to the Premier League for a long time. I'm sure in real life, Raf Benitez will do very well with them. And hopefully in your FM save, you can do very well with them as well. If you send me your YouTube save, or however you're doing your saves on FM, whether it's YouTube or not, let me just just link them or talk about them in the comments, whatever you wanted to, and send them to me. And I'm sure if I'm nice, I feel nice, I'll give you a shout out for your YouTube save. How generous am I, Abe? Anyway, I thank you for watching this Newcastle team guide. Go back and watch all my other FM18 content, including the Bait Says Liverpool, as well as other team guides for other teams in the Premier League. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, folks. I've been TIJ, and I'll see you tomorrow at 6 PM, as for every other single day, for another FM18 team guide. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.